Well, there you have another episode of Straight Outta Combat Radio, audio medicine by Green Zone Hero. This interview impresses the heck out of me. This is a person who's on point, on a great mission with Bunker Labs to help veterans find their way in the entrepreneurship business world. He's deployed several times to combat zones as a special operator in psychological operations with the U.S. Army. Very humbled and honored to have Bill Quiqley with us here today on Straight Outta Combat Radio. And I really appreciate you tuning in to another episode of our show.
You're a steely-eyed killer shadow in the night. You were born to fight. You gotta light 'em up.
My name is John Krotek, and I want to welcome you to Straight Outta Combat Radio, audio medicine by Green Zone Hero. We're here to honor the wisdom of America's most valuable asset for combat veterans. We're authentic, we're empowering, we're American.
Save us all before they burn it down.
Our veteran guest for this episode of Straight Outta Combat Radio, audio medicine by Green Zone Hero, is Mr. Bill Quiqley. Bill is a former Army psychological operations first sergeant who transitioned out of the service after 20 plus years in the special operations community. He's doing a lot of things. Currently, he's the city leader for Bunker Labs in Tampa, where he encourages veterans and military spouses to realize their dreams of financial independence through entrepreneurship. In fact, he's the cohort manager of the Veterans Residence Program with WeWork, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we get into the conversation. He is also the co-founder, something that he just launched in a soft launch, co-founder of Guerrilla Gurus, a design and ad agency specializing in guerrilla marketing. And I know that he is super excited about that. Throughout his career as a special operations professional, Bill was the beneficiary of innovation that enabled him to deploy to remote locations and accomplish the missions assigned to him. He had the opportunity to travel professionally to over 15 countries, sharing his knowledge of information dissemination strategies with partner nations. Being able to identify new and creative ways to message select audiences that resulted in positive and long-lasting change was vital to his success while in uniform. Bill served 2 combat deployments in Iraq, in addition to tours in Bosnia, Niger, and Qatar. It is because of those experiences that he is passionate about telling the story of innovation and the veteran community. You know, we're just glad that he's back all in one piece. I know he recently just had a baby daughter, and he's super excited about that. And just want to say, hey, Bill, thanks for taking the time. I'm humbled to have you here. Welcome to Straight Outta Combat Radio.
Well, thank you, John. It's quite the introduction. So it sounds different when somebody else is reading your bio back to you.
Yeah, it's yes, it makes you sound like somebody that not sound like it, but you are important. You know, let's not mince words. I met you at a Bunker Labs event. I think it was the kickoff event last year up in Tampa. And
it was our official launch, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people up there. You guys are doing great things up there at Bunker Labs, and super excited for this interview today. You know, before we get into the meat, you know, tell us a little bit about Bill Quiqley and where you came from and how you even made it to the SF community.
Man, that journey started 20 plus years ago. So I was straight out of high school, 17 years old, and just kind of already had that itch to go out and explore. So I signed up for the military, for the Army, when I started my senior year of high school. And then as soon as I graduated, I was on a plane. I was originally did small device repair, and they sent me, after basic training and all that stuff, I got sent to work with the Special Forces, so 3rd Special Forces Group. I was a small device repair guy, and right out the gates, they take me to Bosnia and fix some stuff for them there, and I did a good enough job that as soon as we got back, they invited me out to go to Nigeria with them, and so that was an awesome experience, and I knew I needed to stay a part of the special ops community, and I had the opportunity to go into psychological operations and be a part of that, and you know, with their mission statement, really trying to win wars without ever firing a single shot. That really drew me to them. So I did about 18 years in psychological operations.
You know, the language we use is psyops, but you know, I never really met anybody that did that, and I'm curious about that. You know, winning wars without actual conflict. Tell me how you guys did that.
Yeah, well, you know, the intent, if it's done right, and you know, it's rarely that anything is ever done to perfection, right? But you want to eliminate the enemy's will to fight. So have them too scared to even fight you before the battle starts. right? So when that battle starts, they're throwing down their arms. And so that was kind of, even though that's not the way it always played out, that's the way I approached like every mission is, all right, how can I eliminate the enemy's will through information to fight?
Now, was it this kind of, anyhow, we don't want to give away anything operational, but tell us, some of the instances where you had great success. Can you think of any, Bill? I'm sure.
Yeah, I can think of, sometimes success, if going back to like my first deployment in Iraq, success was very different than I was in Ramadi in 06, 07. And so I knew I had a successful message if the enemy started firing at me, right? I was sharing information that they didn't want me. Example, say a mortar was fired and missed our base and killed innocent civilians. We'd be able to identify where that mortar was shot from. So I'd drive my PSYOP truck out there with a loudspeaker, and I'd let everybody in the area know what had happened, that, you allowed somebody to, fire a mortar from this location and it killed an innocent child. And when messages like that would play, the next thing you know, the gunshots would start ringing out. And we know that, we're kind of hitting a chord, there with them, because that wasn't something they wanted us sharing.
Wow, interesting. We've interviewed quite a few people here on Straight Outta Combat Radio, and every story is just fascinating. We hear different aspects of the conflicts and the types of things that play out. When you went to that first deployment in Iraq, were you real sure of the mission? Yeah,
I think I was. I didn't necessarily, it was my first time in combat, so you never really know what you're getting yourself into. You hear the stories and you see the pictures. At that time in Ramadi, which was extremely oppressed and we could really only move at night, I knew that mission was to liberate the individual, liberate the people in Ramadi and remove, the enemy forces there. So I don't think that was ever in doubt. How we were going to do that was ever changing and ever evolving, and we played around with a lot of different strategies. And my deployment itself was supposed to be 9 months. I ended up staying 15 because of extensions, and that was the time of the surge. It was very interesting because we got to see actual change, like tangible change in the city of Ramadi, where we couldn't only go out at night, right? The night was our tactical advantage, to thriving city when it was all said and done 15 months later.
Can you think of anything in particular that happened on that deployment that just sticks out in your mind that you just went, holy cow, this is the real deal, or holy cow, I'm really making a difference? Anything that you can think of, Bill?
The first holy cow moment, and maybe I'll give a couple examples if there's time, but
sure.
First holy cow moment was really the first firefight you get into, and a standard patrol, and when the exchange of fire is going on, I thought I was going to be way more like kind of nervous and unsure. And I'll tell you what, there's a reason we train as much as we do stateside, because as soon as the bullets started flying, I just remember kind of almost a state of calm, just calling out. I was the team leader, so I was calling out the distance and direction of the enemy fire so that our gunner could then engage. And then, we're just sharing information. Nobody was panicking. And this is literally, I think, 2-3 feet, an RPG came from hitting our truck, it just whizzed, right by us. That's when I knew I was in it. Like, this is happening. But then I was also I was impressed with myself and my team. I was like, man, we got this,
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So got to be harrowing. And you were so right about the training. Was this a capable enemy, or, did you know exactly who you were fighting? Were there multiple enemies? What was it like?
Yeah. Going into it, I didn't think they were capable. I just didn't understand how, civilian types, non-military types could compete against the military. So, as far as technology goes, no, they weren't, but they were so innovative in a way, things that we wouldn't think were deadly, they'd figure out a way to use those things against us, or maybe I think they had a good idea too of where we came from morally, right? So, kind of in a more sad state, where they got the one up on us on one patrol, there was like a family calling for help. Like they need assistance, and it ended up being a suicide bomber. So that's one of the ways they kind of tried to level the playing field, is they kind of maybe used our own emotions against us.
Yeah, it's kind of like psyops of their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the surge was definitely, yeah, exactly. So, what was your second holy cow moment? That's probably the second one there,
Yeah, so I think, And this goes back to making sure that you're getting out the right messages, the right people. And so the next holy cow moment was we were working with a local police chief there, and we would record him about twice a week, and we'd have a message that he wanted to give to the people, and we had the capability to broadcast that message, whether it be through our loudspeakers, and then also we started setting up at the bases. We started setting speakers there at the bases, so the bases could broadcast information and pre-recorded messages that we set. So we had a police chief, and it was, I don't speak Arabic, but I can, when somebody sounds like authoritative or inspirational, that they have that voice that draws your attention. He was one of those people, and so we were, we'd go around the city broadcasting his messages, some of it, inspirational, other just kind of giving guidance to the population. We kind of messed up. We raised his profile, maybe a little too much. After about a month of doing so, he was assassinated. And so I think that was another holy cow moment. Like, I think we got to be very, very careful how we elevate people and make sure that they've got the right type of protection around them if we do elevate them.
Yeah, that's a sad story, really. So you spent 15 months in your first deployment, and you had so much fun you went back, right?
Yeah. I did have a second round. That was a little bit different. I went there as a planner, as a psychological operations planner with a combat brigade. And we happened to be the last combat brigade in Iraq. So I think this was 2010, 2011. We were the last combat brigade in Iraq.
How had the war changed from the surge when things were really intense to the end of the war? What was with the end of the war for you?
Yeah, so I think what had changed, obviously freedom of movement, in that area. I think the Iraqi forces there at that time showed themselves to be more capable than they were in 2006. Yeah, the message had changed too, where was less authoritative and we were more trying to be in the background. So our efforts as far as messaging was really just promoting the Iraqi military and the Iraqi police as a capable force. It was the big difference for me.
Do you think, after having served 2 combat tours and American forces in Iraq with coalition partners, do you think we made a difference there?
Oh, man. Yeah, some for the good, some for the bad. I think the history books 50 years from now will tell us better of the difference. I think we're still really close to that time, even 10 years removed, to really understand the effects. But there were people that were liberated. There were people that would have definitely been killed or harmed under the old regime, that were liberated. So, I think looking back, we can all say strategically there were some things we could have done different. But I think everybody that went there with the right mindset. They were trying to improve the lives or give hope to others.
So that's good, and congratulations. And sorry for anybody that you lost that were friends of yours. That's tough, and I'm just glad you were able to make it back safe. But you came back from your last deployment in 2010, 2011. When did you finally retire from the U.S. Army?
So I retired February 2019. Yeah, so just about a year and a half ago, I transitioned out.
So, and how was that transition? Did the Army give you everything you needed to be successful on the outside?
Well, not only the Army, but the Air Force, because I transitioned out of MacDill. And I think the base of resources there, there are the Army programs, but then there are these joint programs too. I think anybody listening that's in the MacDill area, knows probably MacDill more than any other base as a blend of all the other forces. So I think they actually have a pretty good program. It's hard to compare it to others, but talking to my other friends, obviously I have really close friends at Fort Bragg. They didn't really feel like they got much as far as resources or enough as far as resources. I found my transition to be an abundance of resources, not necessarily from the military, but in the local community here. So many people that wanted to be a part of my transition, and I'm so thankful for that.
Awesome. Before we get to what you're doing now, which is a lot, looking back on your Army career, is there anything you would have changed?
Man, no. Maybe some of those early Article 15s, but
yeah, I know about those.
Even that, I had a great time doing it. So I don't think there's much I would change. I was that guy. I was always looking for the opportunity to go to that next place. I was single through most of my military career, so that was never a problem. Like, what am I doing stateside? I'm wasting my time. I should be forward somewhere. And it was later in my career that, I started a family, and that worked out perfectly for me. So I don't think there's too much I would change. I was happy to go on the deployments I did. I really enjoyed the career path I took. Maybe there's some schools I would have taken a little more seriously the first time, but no, I feel really good where my military career took me.
It's awesome. I know you're doing a lot now. We mentioned earlier that I had met you, at a Bunker Labs event last year.
Yep.
And you're doing a lot. Let's get started there. So you had a decent transition. You started a family. I know you just had a daughter. Yep. Tell us about the journey so far with Bunker Labs and what it is y'all do, and a little bit about that, Bill, and especially with the Resource Center. Tell us about those things.
Yeah, so Bunker Labs has definitely been that highlight, that shining star, and that I've been able to be a part of since I transitioned out. And I knew when I was leaving the military, I wanted to be as connected to the community as possible. And so I was looking for those right opportunities to volunteer. I gotten involved in publishing, so I was making a lot of connections in the local area, telling the stories of companies in the Tampa, Florida area. And so I happened to meet somebody from Bunker Labs, and we talked. I actually pitched Bunker to be in my book, and I think they liked my pitch so much that a couple days later, they came back to me and they said, "Hey, we like what you're doing. Like you're that you're involved in the community, that you're getting out there. We think you'd be a great city leader for Bunker Labs." And I was like, absolutely, this is the opportunity I've been looking for as far as a volunteer opportunity to give back. And so what Bunker Labs is basically it's an organization that enables the military connected community, mostly like veterans and military spouses, to start their own businesses. So we're not writing business plans or anything like that. We're giving encouragement. We're networking them with the right individuals. We're opening up our Rolodex of people as city leaders and trying to get people connected with the right people.
And I was very impressed. There were, a couple hundred people there for the opening event, and the enthusiasm and the level of support that you guys and gals got was eye-opening to me. I mean, there's a great base of transitioning veterans and people looking for help in entrepreneurship, and y'all are definitely filling a need that people need, especially when they're just starting out. So kudos to you.
And I'd like to say that Tampa is kind of unique to some of the other cities as far as its support for entrepreneurship. Other cities get good turnout, but no other city gets turnout like we do. So our events, our monthly events pre-COVID, we'd get anywhere from, on average, about 100, 120 individuals participating. And for that launch you were at, I think it was nearly 300 individuals.
Yeah, it was huge. Well, I know you're working on a program now. I think you have 6 or 8 transitioning veterans or young entrepreneurs that you're working with. Tell us a little bit about that program as the cohort.
Yeah, so this is a program. It's called Veterans in Residence, and that is a Bunker Labs program powered by WeWork. And so WeWork, anybody that's not familiar with that, it's a co-working space, and they have spaces all throughout, basically in all the major cities throughout the U.S. And so WeWork donates the co-working space and those resources. So we have a cohort, 8 veteran entrepreneurs. Some got out more recently, some even got out 15 years ago, right? So once you're a veteran, you're always a veteran, and whenever you want to go into entrepreneurship is the right time to go into entrepreneurship. So it doesn't have to be right when you're transitioning out. So we have a great mix of veteran entrepreneurs with businesses all the way from travel agencies to health insurance to meal prep services. That's
awesome. Can you think of 1 or 2 success stories that you all have had so far working with Bunker Labs? I know that's been recently you've been with them, but you all do good work. So is there anybody that sticks out that you can tell us about?
Oh, man. So I don't think I can comment on any one specific. I mean, I do get messaged a lot that somebody will say, "Hey, I met somebody at one of your events that, helped get my business on the right track." I get quite a few of those messages and positive feedback. So we're still a little early in the process for me to start touting the real success stories. But, we do take surveys and polls after each event, and information is always extremely positive, and almost always somebody gains something from one of our events, either a connection or information or a resource.
That's cool. So let's just say I'm a veteran. I got out 6 years ago, and I'm looking for help with a startup. Tell me what I need to do, Bill, to get started with Bunker Labs.
Yeah, so I can give some, that's where I can promote some stuff, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for, man. We want to spread the word, spread the wealth.
And if you haven't, I really think you should. You do need to go to our Bunker Labs online. And let me just double check the exact. It's kind of a new site that we have. Yeah, so it's bunkeronline.org.
Okay.
And so that's where any veteran or somebody even wants to be just. Even if you're not a veteran, if you want to be a part of our community, the great things about the Bunker Labs is even though we're supporting veterans and raising them up, we're not exclusive to veterans or the military connected community. So anybody in the business community that wants to be a part of Bunker Labs, we want them to be a part of our community and let us know the resources or offer mentorship or any of those things, right? So can't do this in a vacuum. It has to be the entire community committed to it. So it starts with going to our bunkeronline.org, and then you can sign up for an account there. And so we basically have three main principles we operate off of: inspire, equip, connect. So it starts with connecting. Those are our networking events, and obviously we've had to modify how we network and connect people, but we are still doing we still have an array of online events with some really awesome keynote speakers or panels, and we even have online networking events where we can like pair you up to connect with people. So I would check out those events for connections. And then anybody that's an aspiring entrepreneur, right? So you have a great business idea, you don't know if you should go through with it yet. On that same site, we have our what we call Launch Lab Online, and it's probably about an hour or two of online training, kind of interactive training and self-reflecting. So it's going to take you through different steps of the entrepreneurship journey, and you're going to self-reflect, and maybe you'll decide that after you do those steps and those exercises, you might realize this is not the right time for me to do this, or, okay, I think I've got what I need. It's time to move forward.
Yeah, that's a really cool option to have because it can cut through a lot of the red tape right off the bat and give you some ideas to think about for sure. Because I was telling you earlier, my wife and I were in a small business for 23 years, and man, something like that would have helped us tremendously those earlier years.
John, I get that a lot, because we've only been in Tampa technically for, September was our official launch, but we did a soft launch about a year ago. I got one member in the cohort too. He's like, man, I was messaging Bunker Labs that they needed to have a chapter here in Tampa. Where was this a couple years ago? So
you're here now. So yeah,
we're here now, and I'm connected. I got two amazing city leaders I work with. They also have a ton of resources and connections. Eric Maltese, he's the CEO of Emmertech, and it's a growing company here in the Tampa area that gets a lot of press. And then, and I'm sure Valerie Lavin, who also is the founder of Action Zone, which takes veteran entrepreneurs through the ideation stage.
Wow, that's awesome work, man. It's like, it's one thing about USF guys, you're always on mission, always trying to do something. So, which leads me into the next thing that you're involved in as co-founder of Guerrilla Gurus. Tell us what you guys are doing with that project.
Yeah, so Guerrilla Gurus is a brand new digital marketing agency, and our whole goal and mission is really to give people So we're using guerrilla marketing tactics, if you will, right? So things that aren't too expensive, but you get a lot of bang for your buck. We're managing social media campaigns, branding, do logo design. We have a lot of other capabilities, but right now our focus is on the social media, because promoting yourself via social media can be even we're talking about story. I know there's a lot of things people like or dislike about social media, but as far as promoting brands, and engaging, it's the best platform out there. So there's some really low cost ways to do that. And on a side note, I'm happy after this program. But here's it: if you want to reach out with me on on LinkedIn or any other platform, I'm happy to give them some tips too on some free marketing that they can do for themselves if they have a business, or like I said, they just don't want to do themselves. Then that's what Guerrilla Gurus can do, and we can grow your following and engage. And we're not using bots either, so we're not taking the easy way out. We're doing real engagements and getting real feedback from people.
So you guys just soft launched that recently, didn't you?
Yeah. So our website went live last week. So www.guerillagurus.com. And we bought a bunch of all the misspellings of the domain. So even if you misspell it, you'll probably land on our page. That's another guerrilla tactic. So there you go. That's a free one right there.
There you go. Already giving away tips. But that's good, though. That's called the give back. Yeah. So, one of the reasons we even had this talk radio podcast show is because, a lot of veterans, and especially combat veterans, get a bad rap. There's a stereotype out there that somehow by being in armed conflict, they're broken. And, we read a story here and a story there, and, was he or she a veteran when they did something crazy? And a lot of times they're not. But tell us, what would you like the general population, the civilian type people, to know about combat veterans? What would you like them to know?
Man, first of all, we're not all broken. I saw a ton of stuff. We all, man, I'm not even gonna be able to say this word. I got, anyway, yeah, we were able to segment things. And so for me being in combat, it was always something, I always looked at it, this is my job, right? And then when I get back home, I was able to make that shift to, okay, I'm not at work anymore. So all those things that happen in combat, I just kind of associated with work, and I did my best to not bring them home with me, and I think I did a good job of that. And I realized that there's other people that struggle with that, and we need to support and reach out to those people and make sure they're taken care of. But just because somebody's a combat veteran doesn't mean they're broken. It doesn't mean they need your pity. But we all want support, whether we're broken or not.
Right, that's good advice. And so let's just say there is a guy or a gal out there that's struggling right now, and you as a first sergeant, NCO, what kind of advice would you give to them, Bill?
Man, pick up that phone and just start calling people. Probably every person in your phone, whether it's a close friend or not, wants to be there for you if they can. Right? They're in your phone, your Rolodex for a reason. You're struggling, just pick up your phone and call somebody, and I think, that, just call somebody, just reach out, talk to somebody. Hell, it could be a stranger. I just think our human nature is we want to help people. I really do, even though it doesn't look that way sometimes. One-on-one, if we connect and you say you need help, I can't imagine there's a person that says that they would need help that I wouldn't want to try to help in some way, and at least connect them with a resource. So just look to your left, look to your right, pick up your phone, and get in touch with somebody.
Definitely. It's a simple thing. Sometimes it's difficult to do, but you're not weak if you pick up the phone and call a buddy, because you're actually a lot stronger than you think.
And if you don't want your friends to know, then call a stranger. Guess what? They're still going to help you just the same. They might not understand what you're going through quite like a buddy would, but a stranger would still help you.
Yeah, that's true. So where do you see yourself in a perfect world? I know it's COVID-19 lockdown right now, but where do you see yourself in the future, a year from now or 5 years from now? What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, so I see myself as I'm always going to be an advocate for veterans. I've found myself in the veteran entrepreneurship space, but I'm always going to advocate for veterans, for resources, for connections, right? And then I think from that, past that, I want to have a successful marketing company, and that's on me. That's drive and determination. All the resources and tools are out there. I've gotten the education on it, and now it's all about execution. So I think that, and then other than that, I just want, I've got a daughter, a newborn. She's 3 months old, and I just want her healthy and happy. That's actually the only priority is her being healthy and happy.
Well, congratulations on her, for sure, man. Let me ask you this, Bill. What does freedom mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, in a way, freedom means, it means a few things, but I think for one, in the entrepreneurship space, it's being able to fail, right? Having the opportunity to fail at things is freedom. And I don't think we encourage failure enough. But the other side to that of freedom is opportunity, right? So being able to create our own opportunities is freedom.
No, definitely a good answer. Every time I ask that question, I get a different answer, and they're impressive.
And there's no wrong one on that,
There really isn't, and you mentioned failure, and failures are stepping stones to success, so you're spot on.
Yeah.
Does Bill Quiqley have a personal mantra that he lives by every day?
Well, we're going to lead back to it, but it's or I've kind of already been hitting on it, but it's don't be afraid to fail. I think that's what keeps me out of my comfort zone. I could have definitely gone a different route when I transitioned out, and I was like, I'm going to bet on myself, or not just betting on myself. I'm going to make sure I do the things that make me the most happy. So once again, it's don't be afraid to fail. That's what keeps me going.
Definitely an awesome mantra that carries a lot of weight. I'm just impressed with your career. I'm impressed with your, how you look at life, and you being able to jump here into the civilian sector and start helping your brothers and sisters who wore the uniform. We've been talking to Bill Quiqley, ex-First Sergeant, retired First Sergeant Bill Quiqley, United States Army Special Forces operator who has served this country with distinction and who is now on his own mission with Bunker Labs, helping veterans to transition and become entrepreneurs and successful business owners. And he's just launched his Guerrilla Gurus marketing company. You're doing a lot, and I just got to say, Bill, I'm glad that I met you, and I'm looking forward to building this relationship as we move forward. Yeah, man, I'm humbled and honored to have you on Straight Outta Combat.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Hey, we're here to support one another, brother. So.
Well, I appreciate that, and be careful what you wish for, man, because I would definitely follow up with you, and I'm going to check out the website, and hopefully in my own capacity, in some small way, I'll be able to help you as well. So just appreciate you, brother. I wish your family and you safety and good health. All I can say, Bill, is keep up the great work that you're doing. We need more Americans like you.
Thank you, John.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Straight Outta Combat Radio, audio medicine from Green Zone Hero. If you liked what you heard, then tell others about us. Like us and download us. And please remember, freedom is not free, and combat veterans are vital assets. They're not broken.